Hello, I'm Barbara, and I'm a mental health therapist here to help you build a better life by leaning into wellness. I'd like to talk to you today about Abu Simbel, which is a temple structure in Egypt that has quite an amazing story to it that relates to how we can build a better life. In the 1960s, it was discovered that the Nile was rising and it was going to rise more. Aswan Dam in the Nile River was built. This ancient, over 3,000-year-old temple was going to be underwater. It took a vast number of engineers and over 50 countries coming together to figure out how could they save this incredible temple structure that had been built by the pharaoh Ramses II in about 1250 BC. As they came together and tried many different plans to figure out how to save this temple structure, which was actually many temple buildings together, they decided to piece by piece cut apart painstakingly the bricks or the sections of the structure and put it in higher ground. This can be compared to our own lives. We may experience difficulties in our lives, difficulties with children, difficulties with our own ability to meet goals or to move into a better area of our lives. Maybe our marriage is struggling. Maybe we have difficulty making friends or at work. But we want to be able to move to higher ground. And this is a process. It's not really something that happens quickly. Just as moving the temples at Abu Simbel was a long process and took a lot of work, so can rebuilding our own lives be a process. It can be an exciting process and it can be a good process as long as we are kind to ourselves, compassionate, and willing to take the time to move into a better state of being. The three major elements needed to lift the structure of Abu Simbel up to higher, safer ground involved cutting, lifting, and reassembling the temple. These can be compared to our own lives, and it can be very difficult to go into a period of cutting and needing, knowing that we have to take out the things that are no longer useful to us, but that we keep in the things that are useful. And that can really take time and effort. It also requires a great deal of self-compassion and gratitude for ourselves for the things that have been difficult in our lives. We need to be able to hesitate, to take the time to be gentle with ourselves as we move into a new part of our lives. It is just as important and sometimes even more difficult to lift the parts of our lives to higher ground that we want to bring with us. And that would involve a lot of effort and changes of behaviors. Oftentimes, just as with New Year's resolutions, we want to start building the structure immediately in our lives. Just like with Abu Simbel, they could not do it in one day. It took years to lift and move the blocks that had been cut to high ground. We need to compare that with our lives and be careful with yourself as you take one change at a time, one new habit at a time. Maybe it's getting up on time. Maybe it's putting your phone away the night before so that you have better foundational sleep. Maybe it is cutting back on habits that are causing you problems, like alcohol consumption or other things that are not really helping you feel better or get where you want to be in life. One of the critical parts after lifting the structure to higher ground is to try to reassemble your life in the semblance of what you would like it to look like. So we've taken a structure that was already wonderful, as in the temples at Abu Simbel, and we have cut it apart, lifted it to high, safe ground, and now we need to reassemble it, just like in our own lives. That we will need to put our lives back together. Sometimes it feels like there wasn't very much there to begin begin with, but I assure you there is in every person's lives. There is something very important about you that you need to take with you that comes back in the reassembly so that you can find greater joy with people you care about. And we work always, when we rebuild, with mind, body, and spirit. This is what helps us rebuild and reassemble the parts of our lives to be stronger and better, this balance. So when we reassemble our lives, we want to make sure that we are doing it step by step, one thing at a time. If we do it all at once, things are likely to fall apart. Just like some of the ideas of reassembling were not great. They had to really think as a group and bring in experts, which you may need to do. You may need to bring experts into your life to help you reassemble your life. You may need helpers. You may need trusted family members. You may need trusted professionals. But we want to be able to come forward to build this better self in this better way. One of the things that's very critically important when we think about how Abu Simbel was restructured was in the very beginning, when it was down low in the area that was going to be flooded along the banks of the Nile, is that there was a beautiful opening down a corridor where the sunlight 2 times a year, on February 22nd and October 22nd, the light would come through and hit the 4 gods. Now remember, Ramesses II considered himself to be a god. And so the 3 gods that were lit up, the 3 were Ramesses, 2 other gods. The god of the underworld was not lit up, and this is all from sunlight. So it was just an amazing, amazing thing about the structure. Now these engineers, when they went to lift the structure up, absolutely wanted to make sure that that sunlight would hit the exact same spot down that corridor to light up those 3 gods. And they wouldn't know for certain until February 22nd and October 22nd. So sometimes it takes time for us, for what we've brought with us, to know that we've reestablished ourselves in a meaningful way and that we've made this exciting change and shift while still maintaining the beauties of ourselves. So we want to make sure that our structure of ourself stays with us so that we know who we are, but that we improve ourselves step by step as we lift and reassemble our lives. So just remember, as you're leaning into wellness and building this better life, be kind to yourself. Take time to be good to yourself, to be grateful for who you are right now, because those are the things you're going to want to cut, lift, and take with you as you reassemble and build your better life. Until next time, please remember, we are going to lean into wellness together and build a better life.